Hello, this is the 117th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Doug Mitchell, entitled The Four Carpenters, the Ensign, the Time of Jacob's Trouble, and the First Deliverance. Starting at the top of page 56, we read, "If only those who head the empire, and also the heads of our nation knew and understood prophecy, we believe Great Britain could come victoriously, as did Nineveh of old after Jonah's great episode. We shall know that Great Britain has been helped by the United States of America more than once. But if we rightly understand this verse, the events of which are but a continuation of those found in verse 44, the king will surely come to his end, and none shall help him. This may transpire before World War II is entirely over, and yet it may not. We gather this from the fact that the event of verse 44 is in connection with the event of verse 45. Inspiration seems to allow no time between verse 44 and 45. We do not know the turns which the war will take, but we know that the prophecies of the Bible never fail. As to his planting his tabernacles in the glorious holy mountain, it is not too clear. For planting the tabernacles of his palace before he comes to his end does not necessarily mean moving his throne there. It could be taken to mean having a branch of his palace there. If he is to plant his tabernacles there while Michael stands up, though, then the only locality other than the Holy Land that we know of is at Mount Sinai, between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. From the study of the 11th chapter of Daniel, we have learned several positive truths. 1, that the time of the end began in the 18th century. 2, that the king of the south is the Ottoman Empire. 3, that the king of the north at the present time, 1947, is Great Britain in particular. 4, that World War II is the war in Daniel 11, 2 TG 7, 8 to 10. Though Great Britain was alone, the king of the north at the beginning of the time of the end, and even that in 1947, since the decline of her power since that time, and the increase of America's power, and the fact that both of those countries work hand in hand in most international situations, especially concerning the Middle East, then it appears that the title King of the North now includes those who are a part of modern Assyria. We say this because what happens to the king of the north also happens to the Assyrian. Sharing with the nations the guilt for marring the branches of his vineyard, his kingdom, this modern Assyria must now share in the divine retribution, while God is taking his people back to their land. Inferentially, with the fall of the Assyrians, the Gentiles in possession of the promised land, the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. Luke 21, verse 24. Looking forward to this time of deliverance, the angel explained to Daniel, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation at that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." Daniel 12:1. "And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem. Isaiah 27:13, track 14, 25, 26. There we find that the standing up of Michael coincides with the fall of Assyria, just as it does with the end of the king of the north. Therefore, the Assyrian is the king of the north, the last persecuting power from which the saints are delivered as they enter the kingdom. Moreover, if, as we have seen, the king of the north and the two-horned beast are the same entities, and the king of the north and the Assyrian are the same entities, then the two-horned beast and the Assyrian are also the same entities. We are mentioning this last aspect, comparison, because both the Assyrian and the two-horned beast are depictions of the last power that is to persecute the true church before she is delivered. And that persecution comes from the local Sunday laws, the Assyrian's yoke, the two-horned beast's decree, that from which the saints will have to be delivered. While Brother Hardif first identified England as the king of the north, time has shown that another Christian power has inherited the title, because England's role in the world has diminished after World War II, and the U.S., along with England and their allies, have assumed the role of the king of the north. That is, not only did England, which Brother Hardif identified as the Assyrian, or as Assyria, at that time, fortify herself against the advances of he who dashes in pieces, but the U.S. did likewise, and even more so. So much so that the U.S. is now the dominant military power of all of those in that alliance. Take care.